Welcome to our countdown of the most talked about politicians in history. These figures, well, let's just say they didn't just leave the world a slightly different shade of beige, they tie-dyed the whole damn thing. For better or worse, they really went for it. We're talking about people who stared down wars, rewrote constitutions, and fundamentally changed how we think about power. And look, I'm not saying they were all perfect. Some of them were about as popular as a skunk at a picnic, but they were definitely memorable. So buckle up, because we're about to take a wild ride through history with some of the biggest personalities to ever grace or disgrace, depending on your perspective, the global stage. First up, we have Winston Churchill, a man who looked like a bulldog wearing a monocle but talked like a Shakespearean sonnet, and boy could he talk. This was a man who could give a rousing speech about the virtues of democracy while simultaneously downing a bottle of brandy and smoking a cigar the size of a small submarine. Churchill, of course, is best known for leading Britain through the dark days of World War II. While other European leaders were, shall we say, indisposed, Churchill stood firm against Hitler, rallying the British people with his defiant speeches and sheer force of personality. He wasn't always right, mind you. The man had more than his fair share of blunders, but in those crucial years, Churchill became the embodiment of British resilience, a stiff upper lip with a side of "we shall never surrender." Next we have Mahatma Gandhi, a man who proved that you don't need an army to bring an empire to its knees. Gandhi, armed with nothing more than a loincloth, a pair of spectacles, and an unwavering belief in non-violent resistance, took on the might of the British Empire and won. Think about that for a second. He stared down the largest empire the world had ever known, and he did it without raising a single fist. Gandhi's philosophy of satyagraha, or truth force, inspired millions around the world and showed that lasting change could be achieved through peaceful means. He wasn't perfect. No one is. But Gandhi's unwavering commitment to peace and justice continues to resonate today, reminding us that even in the face of overwhelming odds, one person can make a difference. Franklin Delano Roosevelt, or FDR as he's better known, was a man who knew a thing or two about crisis management. He took office during the Great Depression, a time when America looked more like a dust bowl than the land of opportunity. FDR responded with the New Deal, a series of programs designed to put people back to work and jumpstart the economy. It was a radical approach, and not everyone loved it, but it helped America claw its way out of the Depression. And then, as if one world-altering crisis wasn't enough, World War II came along. FDR led America through that too, proving himself to be a wartime leader on par with Churchill. He was a complex figure, no doubt, but his impact on America and the world is undeniable. Margaret Thatcher, the Iron Lady, was not someone you wanted to argue with. She was the first female Prime Minister of the UK, and she ran that country with an iron fist, often while carrying an actual handbag. Thatcher was a staunch conservative who believed in free markets and a strong military. She took on the unions, privatised industries, and generally shook things up. Her time in office was marked by both passionate support and fierce opposition. Love her or hate her, there's no denying that Thatcher was a force to be reckoned with. She changed the face of British politics and left an indelible mark on the world stage. Nelson Mandela was a man who knew a thing or two about fighting for what you believe in. He spent 27 years in prison for his activism against apartheid in South Africa. 27 years! That's longer than some of you watching this have been alive. But when he was finally released, did he emerge bitter and vengeful? No, he emerged as a symbol of hope and forgiveness, leading the charge for a peaceful transition to a multiracial democracy in South Africa. Mandela became the country's first black president and a global icon, proving that even in the face of unimaginable cruelty, forgiveness and reconciliation are possible. These politicians, as different as they were, all shared one thing in common. They left the world a different place than they found it. They were flawed individuals, of course, but they also possessed a rare combination of vision, determination, and, let's be honest, a healthy dose of ego that allowed them to make history. Now, we could have gone on and on. Believe me, there is no shortage of fascinating, infuriating, and downright bizarre political figures out there. But we had to draw the line somewhere, and frankly, my throat is getting dry, so Who do you think we missed? Who deserves a spot on this list? Let us know in the comments below, and maybe, just maybe, we'll do a part 2.